Eric A. Bradley. And boy, you're late to the dance. What we do here is we really and give you insight. The stuff and the questions that you have in the back of your mind, we want to make sure that we give you the answers. The last thing is making sure that things that happened last night, we assure that we got the ears and eyes of the mainstream world because of the man on the opposite side of the screen to me. And I'm going to break several things down about last night, the course of the events that happened on the card in its entirety. And for that reason, I'm all in with doubling down on you guys. Yeah, one of the best. Thanks, brother. I appreciate you. I just realized that my mic was off, but now it's on, and now it's time to get it popping. With no further ado, it's time to box. This is dedicated to my boys over in TSOB, the School of Boxing. I felt like it was a learning moment. There were so many different ebbs and flows of that fight last night with Mike Tyson. But when Mike Tyson created the aura of the man of invincibility, the scariest man on the planet, we never saw this coming. This never had been seen. Welcome, Gabrielle. He's never seen the show. So we put you on the screen, brother. Let us know where you're from. Neil, what's going on, Neil? School of Boxing in the building. This is more or less, and Eric Carrington. Appreciate you letting me know. Good deal. You're in the building. So today is more about not me, not about the fans. It's about the impact of what last night had. So I'm going to cover several things. First, what you saw tactically and skill set wise in the old school nature of what Mike Tyson did. The second thing I'm going to go over is the impact of what that event meant to the sport of boxing at large when you look at the bevy of people, Puerto Rico in the building, that were impacted. Mike Tyson told Jim Gray after the fight, I'm not doing this for me or money. I'm doing this to help these other brothers, these guys who are on the come up and trying to build a name for themselves. In order to do that, you have to be on a fight card or whatever entertainment business you're in. Something has to happen. What they didn't see happening was Mike Tyson, the most popular man on the planet living right now, gave these guys an opportunity to build and cement their brand. Even Triller, who was the platform in which hosted this entire event, and they did a heck of a job. And they also gave you an insight of what tomorrow's sporting events will look like with Snoop Dogg on the microphone, Adesanya in the UFC. You can see the crossover happening when it comes to it. Adesanya has not had the opportunity to commentate on the UFC, but his first opportunity came with the sport of boxing. These are some of the things that say to my up and coming coaches, that prepare yourself for these things that are to come, and I set them aside. And Tyler, welcome. What's going on from Toronto? It's good to see you, man. Mike not getting to him. Do you agree? Again, the 2 minute rounds had a factor and Mike not. Oh, well, I feel like Mike Tyson. I'm going to get to some questions in about 2 minutes. I just want to address the event at large. Thanks everybody for attending. We had 25,000 people live last night here and over on YouTube. We were smoking as well. It's just a real impactful thing. Instagram, the camaraderie that happened. It was much larger than the event. The event has an what we call a revolutionary impact. Mike Tyson had a revolutionary impact on the sport of boxing. And as you look at this man, and shouts out to at the art of MMA for doing this picture. And it is great because that really magnifies the essence and the DNA of Mike Tyson. He's so dynamic. And I'll get to that. But as I I lead and a teacher, a professor in this day and time in this of the sport of boxing. For those of you who have never seen this channel, you are totally late to the dance, but I do this for real. So once you get done watching this video, I challenge you to go and watch the rest of the stuff that you will see on us and what we do. And you'll see me in many different lights, but it will all be centered around the sport of boxing. We have to speak on the factual things that truly I'm behind the real enemy lines, protecting the brand and the fiber and the heritage of boxing, the lineage of when you strap on those gold belts around your waist. I'm in charge of protecting the lineage for all of the families that are on Mount Rushmore, from the Moores to the Hearns to the Leonards, the Joe Lewises. All of these people rely on people like myself who have the youth to help keep the brand intact. And I'm doing that. And at the same time, also aiding guys who want to be elite and go down in the books for what they've done in the sport, galvanizing these guys. Well, Mike Tyson was one of my first inspirations in doing so. So when I see this guy step out on the banister and make it not about him, but about the cause of boxing, and when you see that, you have to tip your cap, because what you witnessed last night, and I'm about to get into the skills in which came about. Last night, I want you guys to take 1 second and just look at this screen of the tenacity of this man. And I'm going to pull myself out for just 20 seconds. You just take a look at this guy. Good. Now, all I want you to do is really just take that in and realize one thing, that when it's about the sport of boxing, some of you take your light, that's fine. You're not in this sport for real. But my job for real is to sacrifice my health, my well being, my money, uh, my relationships for this sport. When I watched Mike Tyson over this entire thing, he is not doing this for him. He's not doing this for money. He's surrounded by money. He's making sales just on his name alone. Millions of dollars are being made on Mike Tyson's name every single day of the year. He's not ever going to want a need for money. What I saw him do, it was something he didn't have to do. And he put his health on the line. And after the fight, if you watch the commentary, Jim Gray asked Roy, was he scared? And Mike Tyson said, not one time has anyone asked me about my health. Like, we're professional fighters. And you could tell he was truly bothered by the fact that no one really cared to ask if he felt in danger or if he was afraid. And to do this, you have to be afraid. The difference between a hero and a scaredy cat is a hero will do whatever it takes, even in the moments of fear. And a coward would avoid and run away. Like a lot of people we had on the feed, the cowards, they hide behind a keyboard. But Mike Tyson is the antithesis. His growth, the sacrifices, what he's doing, people do not know. If you look into his eyes during these interviews, this man deals with mental health issues, major real stuff. You don't take the time to see what he sacrificed. But when I watched that fight, and now I'm about to get into some questions, And I'm about to get into what what exactly he did to overcome some of these tactical things um, that Roy Jones broke. And Roy Jones is an athlete and a super athlete at that. So make sure you get your questions prepped because I'm going to actually answer some of the questions I got. The feed isn't so crazy like it was last night that I can actually see, and but I'm going to speak specifically to some things. And last night we did a giveaway, and I'm going to also do that again once again today because I want people to know from more inside. Shouts out to my boys, TSOB, Marquise George from out in New York, Brooklyn in the building. It's a powerful thing when you seen the skills and what you didn't understand, and nobody should, because these aren't things that you know, not in an amateur level, not even at the early stages of a professional level, not even midway through your professional rankings. Would you understand what this means, what you were seeing last night from Mike Tyson? But one of the things was dynamics, the moves. Humility is the first thing, the skill that you have to develop when it comes to boxing. And when you saw him, excuse my French, he was developing a serious, it takes decades. No fighter usually will you ever see have the type muscle memory embedded to execute the stuff that he did. This man was not, he was in what we call tier 3 of the peekaboo last night. Hands up, and it takes a long time to develop this muscle memory. The trunk of the torso, as you learn to do the east side, west sides, it's so physically domineering. Like you can do it in practice, but you'll never be able to execute these things. Some of the skill sets that you get to see Mike Tyson do and demonstrate are the type things you learn in what we call our fight camp pro, which no one's in right now. You use it in professional camps when you're fighting for world titles or in that circle of these guys, top 10 fighters. That's when you learn this type stuff. He was doing hop step, side steps, half moon, stick pivots, windshield wipers. He rose and dropped the escalator. God, he did rub weaves, drop steps, step drags, the interlocking changing when it came down to understanding the in style fighting. And what people didn't understand is what they were seeing when they were in the clinch. Those are tactical movements and motions, which you won't learn because you can't retain that kind of information. We teach how to clinch, right? First form of clinch, first tiers of clinching is tie above the elbow so they can only move over here. Or if you tie below the elbows, they can pull out and cap you. So you got to learn these techniques. And then you learn how to hip. So you learn how to clinch, put on the hip. When you start understanding the sway and shoulder shrubs and these type things, man, you're in an entirely different level. All right. You're talking tier 3s of it. When I saw Tyson do some of these tactical moves after, when he did that rub, I was like, this dude is rub weaving. He's 54 years old. No one was speaking to this stuff because they don't know what it is. And I'm sitting here like, this dude is taking the game back 50 years. The skills and the muscle memory that this dude was able to acquire, he couldn't even do that in his early years because you can practice it, but you can't demonstrate it in the ring. So the fact that I'm seeing this dude execute some stuff that nobody knows what it is. They just think, oh man, why is he doing that? Or why won't the fight go on? But the fight is going on. You're vying. It's stage, it's chess. And you're understanding so many different wrinkles that you add. But by the time you learn boxing, You're too old to actually do it. Hence the reason why it was a beautiful thing to come back and show these fighters the kind of wrinkles that you really need to do this skill at the highest level. Levels is about not your techniques and your skill set. It's about the things that happen second nature, like your muscle memory, the embedation of the memory inside of the muscle. These people who are watching boxing, it's fine you don't know. Just don't try to do this because your education goes so far and few in between will really get the necessary education, which is why I take such great pride. But when I watch this dude, I mean, he's doing rubs. He was 2 steps away from the Dempsey roll. That was coming. That was coming. He did fade punch, level changing. Man, this was in 2-minute rounds. So the fact that he was able to really do these things really allowed us who are experts, professors in the sport, who understand. He knew that he catch the eye of the people like Hopkins, who had Bowie and George Benton and those cats in camps. Understanding the true essence, and shouts out to Eva Fudge, the wife of legendary trainer Eddie Fudge, who is also in that royal family bed of people who, are on the outskirts of the game, but they're royalty of the game. And they get to see the game evolve to where their husbands and family members and fathers wanted it to. That's what my job is. So not only do I have to make sure that the business of boxing is in order, or the legacy of boxing, but I have to make sure that the trainers are understanding what the hell they are part of. And for you as a viewer, understand how to watch it so you have a different level of appreciation. So we kick our own asses to make sure that you get things that tie what you see out here when these guys are fighting to what they're actually doing. So that's what one of these things is today. The agendas are, we drill these things down, and it's just so respectable that Mike Tyson has added those wrinkles and was able to demonstrate them after 15 years out of the ring and utilizing these powerful shots. He was throwing stuff, and Roy Jones is hurt today. So for those of you who don't understand what Roy sacrificed, Roy Jones Jr. is very hurt today. He's physically hurt. He made clear after the fight when he spoke to Jim Gray that this dude, he's so strong. He hit so hard, and I don't know about doing this. And then RJ came out of him and he started talking a little ego, but he was honest. And Mike Tyson gave it up. He said, "But you took it." But Roy was like, "Man, them body shots and them punches hurt different." Y'all saw that work when he was putting that work on them mitts. When he was putting that work on them mitts, that was real. Like, I was one of the skeptical ones thinking, I know he can bring something into the ring. When I realized it was going to be 2-minute rounds, I said, "Oh, you're going to see a much better Mike Tyson." But I I give credit to an analogy that I made. The analogy is Mike Tyson has always been a musician in the ring. So I tie my analogy to the power of song. A song has 3 phases: the story, the bridge, and the chorus. And so does boxing. Boxing establishing. You have to establish your foundation with the jab and distance. All right. And then you have to put something with it. So you add fluid combinations to find the holes and the spots. And you stick with that. And that is your bridge. The chorus is when you sit down on your punches for the KO to get them out of there. Mike Tyson has always been guilty with only having choruses, no storyline, no bridge. Everything was drop, roll, come up, hook, or rip and rake. Everything was knockout. He was always going for the chorus. He started the song with the chorus. He first round. That's why he has so many first round knockouts, because he got the smoke. So I always tied that analogy, and I did it in our geometry of the box step download. I wanted to make sure that our guys had clarity on the basics of boxing, allow you to become a master at the peekaboo, because now you have principles. You know why you're doing what you're doing when your foundation is solid and tight. You're learning how to use your legs. You're learning how to keep your head off the line. And now when you execute styles like the peekaboo, you will really carry the principles with you. But a lot of people go out here and they try to start the peekaboo and they don't know nothing about principles of boxing. So they won't ever be successful at it. Never. So because you're putting the cart before the horse, and it'll never work because you'll have all of your concepts in reverse. It's just like trying to drive the car on empty and then put the gas on top of the truck. It does not work that way. It needs to be on the inside, and then it could shoot the fumes on the outside. So what you saw from Mike Tyson was a bevy of skills, and he set the tone for the next generation in a big kind of way. A lot of guys looked at this as, I don't know what you guys thought, but I'm going to put some questions on the screen, and then I'm going to talk about Jake Paul last night and what he did in the sport of boxing, and why you guys need to respect this dude because of the fact what it takes to get in between those ropes and not only win but get knockouts both times. The other guy came to knock him out too, but 2 times out of 2 he did it, and you got to respect that. Mike Tyson gave them much love in the post-fight interview, and he should get it because it's hard as hell to do this stuff. So hard that if you never done it before, shut up. You have no idea. That's just like trying to fly to the moon with a paper plane. You don't know nothing about astronomics. So you definitely don't know anything about boxing because you play basketball. We're playing basketball. You play hockey. You play soccer. You do not play boxing because you can get killed. Nate could have gotten killed. That's no joke. I'm going to read a question. I text you. I'm with Salam Weather Box Fitness in Georgia because I'm trying to come see you one of the teachings best I've seen. You know what you talking about. Uh, to tell Roy looking at his hit like you says, keep the chin down. Which one? Uh, thanks, Daenerys, Bruno. It's good to see you, man. You down from ATL? I got a trainer right down there right now, East Side Boxing. So I'm going to make sure that you get the information. He's a master boxing trainer, and I want you to connect with Rod, my man down there, and Roderick, Coach Rod, and connect with him. And he will take care of you down there. You will be in our training systems, and I'll make sure that you guys have a introduction. All right. So hopefully Rod jumps on this feed. And Rod, if you see that, make sure you leave a message with this young man so you can get that work with him. And he's down in the ATL in your parts. Let's get it. This is what we do. We build a fraternity, brother. So if you come on board with the master boxing, you definitely officially in the school of boxing. Cool. And we'll make sure we get back to you. If you send a message, just send an email to us, support@masterboxingllc.com. We got you covered, man. We won't leave you hanging. I'm sure that there's been some kind of reciprocation if the message has been seen. Mike Tyson is 54. George is 50. I mean, Jones is 51. Showed the world he is a much better condition physically. Yeah, he's definitely. I mean, both of these guys, what they did last night was crazy. But That's what happens when you do stuff right. You live, you recover, you take life serious, you profoundly challenge yourself to master your skill set. It's great, man. It's great. Snoop Dogg did a hell of a job on the microphone. um I can't say anything more. How's it going, my man? SC Benton. Everything good, man. I hope you enjoyed the either commentary last night or the fight or the post fight. Know you was probably part of the makeup, and welcome to the channel. If you haven't been here before, we share much love. There's something that's going to happen. Look at Roy. He show you the feet more, Mike. Feet work, Mike. Yeah, Roy did a good job. Brett Murray. Sometimes people forget the human side of things. They look at Mike Tyson as an animal, don't care about his feelings. I'm glad you point out his greatness and why he's doing it. Yeah, he's definitely, man. This man has had more success on life than 1,000 men. I mean, this dude has had parades in Istanbul. That's on the other side of the planet, man. Like, this dude can go anywhere with a hoodie on and be identified. Try to hide and still can't hide. People just want a piece of Mike Tyson. The internet is flooded. He's had 4 billion type ins since he mentioned this fight. 4 billion. That's over half the entire planet. Can you imagine? That's like being a Martian and people just want to see you. And that's his life. And he doesn't have to do this. He don't need any more fame. He already can't do anything, go anywhere without just being suffocated. You can't even imagine everything you do, people trying to turn into a business for you because you have so much attraction. It's like Ali being alive right now. So yeah, absolutely, man. I totally, I totally take it serious when I say that these guys did a great job, and Snoop Dogg did a hell of a commentary last night. It was off the chain, but what that did was give you guys what the future of boxing looks like. And Mike Tyson said it on the microphone in a post fight that thank God for these YouTubers because they're bringing numbers back to boxing because boxing owned the numbers. And these guys should get a belt. There's a lot of people that will have an awakening. There are a lot of people struggling from mental depression and definitely now high levels of anxiety. So many people that you don't even know, your closest homie, especially most women, they got friends that are seeing therapists, and especially at this time now, and guys who need to see therapists. You might need to see, everybody needs. Let me break it down what a therapist is. A therapist is a person that you would typically call your girlfriend or your best friend. I used to look at that as a negative thing until I got success. Then I realized, man, everybody needs somebody to talk to. And that's the role a therapist plays. Because if you drink and party and fornicate, yeah, to subdue the things that are bothering you in your life, and even the successes. People always share their successes, but they don't share their pains. So the biggest thing with that is you got to have somebody to talk that out of your system because that is like a punch. So that stuff held inside of you, it will tear you up inside. It'll create what we call anxiety attacks and panic attacks, high blood pressure, high levels of cortisol. All that comes with success, man. You don't have to be poor to be stressed. Stress comes from the heart rate being impacted by something, highs or lows. It's inevitable that you're going to need therapy. So don't shy away from it or have a great best friend. But therapists are professionals at giving you a next action step. You can't afford it? Find someone that you can get things out like Mike Tyson did. That's how he can turn around all this negative stuff. So I'm going to get into the next 10 minutes. We're going to talk about why would Nate Robinson set himself up and come out of his mouth saying, I want to show people that they can do anything and then get knocked out, because this is not the sport to do that in. It's one thing if you decide to go in the ring and spar for charity with headgear on for an exhibition against a lesser foe that you're not planning on hurting. It's another thing when you fighting somebody who want to tear your head off and you want to tear their head off and it's a fight. You don't set an example. And I know this kind of stuff can get to people like Nate, because I'm doing millions too. So when you're in that feed, people going to hear what you say. So I don't back down on nothing I say. I don't walk it back. I always stand my ground. If I said something, I'll eat it if I'm wrong. But I don't say stuff that really can be combated that way, because I only write down things in ink. All right. So that's how I say it. But Nate Robinson, he don't need to hear this right now. But this is not baseball. And when he took that shot in the first round and thought he got hit behind the head, that's what happens when you fight in boxing. Things that happen to you that never have happened before, and they happen in such a different way. And when he felt that punch, he didn't realize now you're getting hit with gloves on with no headgear. And people get it misconstrued how easy it is to die in the ring and why we take it so serious. But I take it serious because I'm 3 generations deep. And I'll be damned if I'm going to sit back and allow our sport to be just saturated with garbage. So I'm going to always check people. I don't care who you are. You know, I earned the right. I've done over 70,000 man hours in this sport. And for most people, they won't do 70,000 hours in their entire life at work, let alone in one side of them. So boxing, I am boxing. So I can talk boxing. So I can lead in boxing, and I can be the voice for boxing. And for that reason, I have to tip my cap to not the decision that Nate made, but his narrative was in a good place. But any of you thinking you just can go out there and fight and you ain't had no amateur career, no training, you ain't got no muscle memories plugged in or checked off, athleticism does not count. That does not translate or transfer into boxing. Because boxing is about steadiness. Athleticism is about quick twitch muscles and the way you look. If you're going to be a dancer, it's great. But when you get in there slugging with another man, DNA all over you, leaning on you, banging your hips, banging your bones, that's different. And then trying to concuss you in the frontal lobe, that's serious. So Brian Brown, it's good to hear you here, brother. Welcome to the Fight Show. Special edition post-fight epic event in this era. Mike Tyson, formerly known as Iron Mike Tyson, today known as the Gospel Mike Tyson, because he's coming from the skies above. Your videos, commentary, and demonstrations are gospel. That's what we want you guys to have. I just don't want guys to try to have it without the right guidance. My videos are just to show you that there are other diplomas out there. So if I show you a skill, that skill is 11 more grades in that one skill. So don't learn where you can get that complete learning. This is not a sales thing. This is don't damage our sport. If you're working with people or you competing, don't damage the sport. The only time a person can come and pull something from you and add it is when they've built an entire system. and then they understand how a system is built out. But you got to have experience first. You got to know, and that water has to be tested. So I always make sure that guys have the right stuff. But thanks again, Brian Brown. I'm glad to have you on the channel. It's good to have great people like yourself who respect and don't feel, you know, compelled to tip your cap to someone. And I tip my cap right back to you, brother. This is a fraternity, and we want to just expand the minds of our men. You know, the WBC stepped up, and my great associates over at the WBC, Mauricio and Jill, shouts out to them, Jill Diamond. They did a great gesture by creating the Black Lives Matter. And it's a slogan for me. It doesn't matter what that says, it's all about the action that goes behind what you do. So, the actions and what we do, we have to act in the manner in which we want to receive actions back onto us. So, for that reason, you gotta understand to act in a manner in which you want, because laws of attraction is a real thing. I lead by example. I run a family show that you can turn on for your kids, and you can actually enjoy and have a takeaway from it. And learning these skills and stuff are very, very important. And it's just not about one moment. It's about having the ability to realize there's more. Roy Jones and Tyson are above 50 years old, and they're learning more. Mike Tyson made several moves last night. He did a hoop and swoop, and level change, and a fade punch, and all in one cycle. He's never put that together in his career ever. And last night he did. And what that is about is layers of muscle memory. So some of you are on the channel. I love to know all the trainers. So if you're a trainer, instant message our page or just leave it in the comment box. I want to know your names, and I want to make sure that you're on the right path, like we do in our guys in our fraternity in the School of Boxing. As you see, we refer, we speak to those guys, we say their names, we tell you where they are, their gyms, because these guys are on the right pathway. They need more guidance and more leadership, more and more and more. You don't need less and less. You don't take and then vanish, and because you always come back. And that's a fact. Everybody always comes back. That's one of the things I've learned over the past 8 years of doing online training and teaching people online or physical. They always have to come back and understand that, okay, it's not a thing, a one and done. It's a progressive, constant. I keep getting more stuff from you. I keep getting it. And so we are giving the people out here in the thing that to take with you, that peekaboo, and it's an exchange for you to. And Stacy, I think, I'm not sure if that link popped down into the box down here. I'm gonna see if it did. No, that did. But take this video. It's free. It's on us. This is an excerpt from one of Peekaboo Volume 2. And what we did is basically make sure that you guys, as it's going to be in a comment box. I think it's someone put it in there. So take advantage of it. Just use it, man, and learn how to take in that there's so much more. Like all the video you probably watched on YouTube and Facebook, and you thought, okay, I know it, but you don't. You're crazy. You're absolutely bananas. It takes years to get this stuff, let alone. So let me pull this link up so you guys can really use it. And it's important that I do this right. This ain't a me thing right here. This is for you thing. Okay. So I'm gonna copy it and put it in the comment box. And if you're on YouTube, uh, I don't know if it's showing up over there. All right. So this is it. I think that'll pop up in the comments. So take advantage of that, man. It's very, very informative, and it gives you clarity as to what really goes down. Let me see. The biggest thing Another takeaway, he said, thank you. I do want ever I have to. Big fan. Mr. Bruno, thanks a lot. Make sure you message us that. I wouldn't be putting my number on Facebook, not like that, but put it in a messenger or email us at support at masterboxingllc.com. Our people get right back to you and take care of you. And I don't know if that message came through. Stace, thanks for putting that link in the description box. Neil, I'm going to find your question. Yeah, the supporting bouts, the real deal boxers were phenomenal. What boxing is all about. Two guys at the peak of their fitness battling it out. And that's exactly what it is. Another TSOB member, Neil, make sure you always put your TSOB hashtag. We want people to really understand who they can rely on. You got former fighters, you got up and coming fighters, you got legends, you got Hall of Famers that are watching on the feed. We had 25 people, 25,000 people live. Believe me, a lot of them are followers and fans and understand they appreciate where the game is going. So make sure you represent the brand. I will continue to say that these things we don't take light. And if you guys are out in New York, make sure you check out Reps Boxing with Marquise George, another member. And we guide all of our people because these guys are great to sacrifice, and they sacrifice their money for education. They sacrifice their time for education. They allow mentorship. And every man got to have that level of, man, my voice is so tired. I've been up all night. That's why I can't even, I got to keep clearing my throat. But to have that humility, I must send praises to you guys always, man. And that's why I wish these guys would mention me in their posts, but they're learning still. But as you see, I like to edify my people because I edify those who have impacted me and I edify those who I'm impacting. So I always allow my fans and followers and the people who support us to come on the screen. I never get too far ahead of myself. X2 Warriors, well done to both. And I love what the internet's saying about this fight card, people. They loved it. Otis, if you're out there, Otis Griffin, former WBO world champion, holla at your boy. It is very important that we all take into consideration what they did. It's just great. The internet was great. Very few people were negative. Like, they weren't negative. Most of the people that were negative didn't see it. They were just piling on, trying to create something. But the influx of positive was just way too much for them to even bat an eye. And it is just amazing what you're able to do. But what we did is make sure we put together a compilation for guys. So go up here, and we got Coach Steve Willits in the building out in Canada. That's right. Hawkesbury, Canada in the building, Willett Boxing Club. Steve, I love what he's doing with the kids. He's doing some great things. Finally, he's starting to delegate some of those responsibilities. Keep working. I'm going to keep teaching and guiding and leading by example how it looks like once you get it to that point. I need partners. I need brothers. I need people next to me when we pushing down these buildings and creating entire countries of the proper mindset to be successful. And keep doing what you're doing. Keep challenging yourself to get better. Push on to the next sectors because there's so much more you can get and so much more you guys are going to get. In quarter 3, man, the programs are going to be written for you. So it's amazing. And yeah, it was worth the sacrifice. I never will stop bringing value. Never. I work my butt off. I got more content than anybody on the planet. I don't care who you go get. But I always continue to increase and impress my day-to-day self. So take it upon yourself to realize that If you do the right things will happen. If you don't make excuses, if you don't make excuses, people will find you and the blessings start to find you harder. And they come after you and they will find you and they will boom. Because I don't make excuses. No matter what's going on, you never will know in my life. I felt guilty letting people know that I was tired and exhausted. That's how little I will make a complaint, because those who don't complain understand that this world and life is not about you. It's about what you are doing to impact what's to come. The fruits of your labor is all about getting it done, not about how you feel, how much money you got, how much money you need. It's about check your boxes and you'll get the opportunity to get enough money. You'll get the opportunity to get enough success. You'll have the right circle. Everything you want will happen. That's one of the things that Mike Tyson continued to do. Press on, press forward. Don't complain. I'm just here. Be humble. Humility is the first skill that you must learn being a fighter, being a teacher. That's what my ramble is this morning. Make sure you don't overlook that. What I have coming for our guys, not that what we have isn't so in depth and field, understand and appreciate what you got. Me just having this page, being able to share stuff with you guys, appreciate what you got while you got this kind of thing, because it's an amazing thing to have. People are not willing to show you secrets and things like that. But when I look at what comes of it, if you become great, it's because of an action that I decided to take. That's worth me saying, I'm gonna give you all that because I used to struggle to get this this knowledge, man. Nobody was handing it out when I was coming up in the game. I got my fighters over there. They posting about, man, this is a different day. Guys don't understand what I had to do to get the information. And I had a pride too. I didn't want to ask. I didn't want to ask no grown man for no help. You know what I'm saying? I always grew up thinking I was a bad dude, but I learned humility gets you further. It strengthens your backbone and it allows people to see your spirit. And I went with that because I don't want my guys to struggle. They sometimes I know they feel like they don't want to ask, but there's a way to go about it. Respect my time, set up appointments. My time will bring you value. So show and prove that it's valuable to you, because I'm going to give you things in your life that will create another step, and climb the steps is your whole objective. And today, I honor Mike Tyson. Today, I honor Jake Paul. Today, I honor the people like Snoop Dogg who went out there and not just did it, but he did it on an entirely different level. I edify Dana White for having the UFC, for people like Adesanya to get an opportunity to come over to the world of boxing and highlight his mindset when it comes down to combat warrior mentality and IQ. That was a beautiful moment last night to see him sitting there on the stage with Ronaldo and Sugar Ray Leonard. Snoop Dogg absolutely killed it. That's the future of what our TV will look like for combat sports. You can believe that the people who are a part of that event, Mauricio, you getting an email from me. Y'all need to hire Snoop Dogg on staff. Triller, you need to make sure that every time y'all have an event, Snoop Dogg's a part of it. Thanks again, Neil, for putting your TSOB hashtag. Thanks again, Steve, for hearing it straight out of the gate. You see, my brothers, we have love. We are human beings, but we are never going to stand still. We're always pressing forward. So you'll always see when you go into every quarter and every chapter, we press forward. So next quarter in my guys' journey will be immaculate. Believe me. Okay. I work for free all day, someone like I do every day. Just keep on having that mentality because it matters. So who won? That's all I want to know. Well, they gave it a what we call a celebrity draw. Um, it was sort of Chad Dawson scored it for Roy, and Christy Martin scored it for Tyson because she loves Killer, and Paz scored it 10-10. Had one round 10-10, so it ended up being a draw. 98% of the people, let's just say 90% of the people, are saying that Tyson won. Tyson won. Roy Jones won. They might even do it again. It was so entertaining. Now, like I said, I broke down the moves and it was just beautiful, absolutely beautiful with some of the execution stylistically that Mike Tyson did. Now we're going to get on to this fight with Badu Jack. Badu Jack was absolutely Badu Jack was absolutely mind blowing with his peekaboo style. I even left him a message. His peekaboo style, learning how to walk a guy down and cut the ring off, and not only that, but learning how to roll his shoulder punch, which most peekaboo guys don't know how to do well or don't have the wherewithal or have not added that wrinkle. So when I seen him doing that, I mean, his hooking off the jab and going to the body, most guys don't understand how effective going down to both sides of the body. Badu Jack was trained by Lou Duvall, formerly one of Roy Jones' competitors, former world champion, very, very strong on pressure fighting and a very strong pressure attack, body head, body being first, leading with the jab, and having a immense offensive prowess. So Lou Duval's style shine through, but it looks like people who are in Badu's Jack corner have something really special. He's really just materialized into this savage. And um, I made quote that I feel like Badu Jack was one of the reasons that Andre Ward decided to kind of pull back and not do the thing no more. He's and I'm not saying uh, that Andre Ward was scared of Badu Jack, but the reality is Badu Jack was high risk, low reward. Therefore, it didn't make sense. And I could see that Andre Ward saw him coming. Like, I need to go ahead and pill out because I just don't want to get up for this guy. He doesn't get me up, but he's a problem because he's a body attacker. He knows how to cut off the ring. He knows how to fight inside. He's nasty. He got heart. And if he goes down, he'll get up. He's a fighter. You don't want those problems in your life at that age. And especially when you're already considering retiring, you don't want to do that. Roy Jones had did that when he fought Tarver the second time. He was already mentally retired, fought Tarver, and realized why you don't do that and got knocked out. So I watched Badu Jack and he looked amazing. And I looked at boxing. I looked at some of the stuff back in the day with people who are like Henry Armstrong and Archie Moore, the old mongoose, just different wrinkles they had in their boxing style. For those of you who are just chiming in, we're giving away, the extract from the Peekaboo Volume 2 download. So grab that on the site, click the link, take it, use it, see it, understand what it is, and you'll look at the fight that you saw even last night a little bit different. That's why you do these type things. So I know you love the box, my man. If you take this into consideration, then you'll really understand why people like myself do what I do the way we do it. We take our time and give you insight. But the night entirely was beautiful boxing, old school fighting. When you look at the Zales of the world and the people who came before the Joe Louis, you saw that kind of aura and that era in Mike Tyson's style with his peekaboo and learning how to level change and create the angles, just doing different things, stick pivoting. And he was beautiful in motion and who just hooking and swooping. I just was just totally impressed with everything when I saw it and rewatched it again. I had to rewatch it again because last night I was commentating when I watched it, so I really couldn't enjoy it. So I got up again this morning. I really didn't go to sleep, but a power nap, was back up at it, watched it again, watched really the whole card. Look at Jake Paul. Respect these guys, man. If they come from YouTube, that means they had proper training, and it's really gonna be hard for them. But for him to get out there and then call out Conor McGregor, man, and it's a good chance that Conor might take that fight because this kid got a following. He's usually fighting guys that don't have a following, except Habib. So when you look at it, man, the landscape of these guys, Conor hasn't been in a boxing ring as a professional but one time. So Jake Paul's already had two fights. So it's all for uh, a bigger cause. So, as Tyson said, now utter these words, give these guys their own title, let them go out there and bump. That was entertainment. That's the new era. Rocky carried boxing, the series Rocky carried boxing in the 90s, the 80s. It brought a whole entire demographic to it. That's why these guys were making a crap ton of money, because you had senators, you had politicians, you had all of these different business owners and moguls from these different worlds who watched Rocky. Sylvester Stallone was smart and clinical, and it's a beautiful thing. It's very, very, very important that you all really take these things into consideration. That these guys with these followings, 20, 30 million people, when they fight, they bring in an audience of people who didn't know anything about our sport, which is great. So that's their little responsibility. Will they ever have the WBC? No. But create their own. And the WBC is so their outreach is so great with Jill and those guys over there, and Gwen. They might be the ones to do that. So the Black Lives Matter belt was crazy cool. That they were showing an initiative and a narrative. Like I said, for me, it's propaganda. It's all about it's sound bites to me. But just knowing that their heart's in the right place, and I'm doing some just good things, man, when it comes to showing these people in the light that they deserve to be in. That's what I use my channel for, and they deserve it. So the WBC is doing an outstanding job. And despite anything, they are continually making adjustments and feeding their fans ever since the beginning of this pandemic. They've stepped right into the lane that they weren't comfortable in and jumped in with both feet. And they're continually still doing it. So that's it, man. For those of you who enjoyed that fight last night, let me know what you thought about the fight in the comment box below. I'll look forward to reading some of these um questions, and hopefully you guys take the time and take this game serious and appreciate these guys having an opportunity. And my son got an opportunity to see Mike Tyson walk to the ring for real live last night. It doesn't get much better than that. One of the greatest to ever do it, the nastiest fighter to lace him up outside of Jack Dempsey. You gotta love it, man. To all my guys over in TSOB, this chapter coming up is going to be unmatched. So continue to dig down, turn on those camcorders, turn on those cameras, turn on those cell phones, get your tripod, record that skill set. Make sure, Stacy, we made sure that the shirts are on sale for you guys to get the nice uniforms of the School of Boxing represented when you're doing your videos, and it's going down. I'm telling you, where you're going to go and be seen due to that is going to blow your heads off your shoulders. I hope that lands well. That's all I got for right now. Until next time, be blessed at God's speed. Continue. Blessings to all of you guys. Thanks for tuning in to the show. And we out of here. The fight shows. Tune in next week for Garcia Errol Spence Jr. We're going live on the fight show.